Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. We are back, and we are going to be derailing a very, very delusional liberal argument that CNN decided to allow this creep, this tyrant named Bigala, or whatever his name is, first name, and I can care less, Paul Bigala. He was a former advisor to President Bill Clinton, and we do know that he is obviously a Democrat. And really, the funny thing is we're seeing the patterns of these stupid Democrat analysts. They say one thing, and it totally happens the other direction. I'm telling you this because look in regards to specifically the 2024 election, you got a lot of Democrat strategists coming out, and they were saying that, Kamala is going to win all the swing states, even though polls technically did suggest that, but they pretended that, the 2020 and 2016 Trump overperforming in the polls thing never even happened. And they didn't take that into consideration, or did they? They didn't want to take it into consideration. They were just projecting, right? That shows how delusional they are and how biased they are. They don't care about being right and accurate. You then go and have Democrat strategists like Alan Lichtman, who has been accurate during his most career. I'll tell you what, this guy is a liar. He has got elections wrong. He is totally pivoting in the 2000 election, where he predicted that Al Gore would win, but he goes and says, Al Gore won the popular vote. So what? We got the popular vote doesn't matter, Lichtman. Electoral vote matters. Electors choose the president. We choose the electors. So that what a stupid argument. So obviously, there's a reason why the mainstream liberal media doesn't really go and flirt and parade Alan Lichtman around so much, because they know he's a failure. And now he's the biggest failure on the planet now, because he told us straight to our faces that Kamala Harris would win all the swing states. And then he acts so stupid and dumbfounded when he finds out that Kamala Harris lost all the swing states, and she lost the election completely. He totally rigged his 13 keys. They're not the 13 keys anymore, right? During the 2024 election, he modified them. He adjusted them. Why do you think he did that? This guy's bought and sold for the Democrats. He's a propagandist. And you have more propagandists. We talked about James Carville, the guy who suggested that Democrats play dead. And Democrats made fun of him because of that. You also got Kyle Kulinski, a maniac, a low testosterone, high anger, difficult man, a high anger, and trouble with his anger. He is an angry human being who predicted that Iowa, Ohio, and Florida would go to Kamala Harris, therefore repeating the 2012 presidential election results. Not necessarily, because in his mind, Georgia would also be, and North Carolina would also be for Kamala Harris. Oh, of course, dummy. This guy is a Democrat Party propagandist. But yeah, this is the people you got. And Mr. Paul Bugala is no different, because this guy is dying on the hill on his comments, suggesting that Democrats will win over 40 seats in a landslide in the House races next year. And when we look at the House map, in which we will in a little bit, you can just laugh at it. Just laugh, because we can go over 2018. He thinks it's going to be a 2018 repeat. And I'm saying, you know what? Democrats, they had relatively favorable maps in 2018. They don't anymore this time. And we're going to go ahead, react to this 1 minute 50 video in regards to the clown show that Mr. Begala is and CNN is going to probably air this because they are a propagandist network. They are going to air this to try to mislead their viewers on where Democrats actually are in the midterms. So let's go ahead and react.
Lawmakers Town Hall. With the House in summer recess, many members are back home meeting with constituents, and for Nebraska Republican Mike Flood, things got a little bit testy last night, early and often as he defended President Trump's policies and was confronted on issues from the economy to Jeffrey Epstein. Listen.
I thought I saw someone with blue hair, but I'm just saying, look at all these people. Sure, you got some Republicans, but I want to really look at the people. This doesn't look like a Democrat. This doesn't look like a Republican. Who does this? Raise their fist in the air. You got this average liberal dude. I don't know if it's a guy or a gal. If this is a dude, for sure, there's no denying he's a communist. But if this is a liberal, she looks like she presents herself like a liberal. These people are not outraged GOP voters. These are far-left Democrats storming town halls because they don't have jobs, guys. They don't go to work. No one's going to skip work to go and cry to your congressman. That's not the average constituent. Maybe some would. But polls have showed that over 90% of Republicans are happy with the state of the country right now. So this guy saying like, oh, these are Republicans. No. In fact, you can make the argument and say, look, Democrats have momentum. They're going into town halls because, Democrats have always had momentum. They don't have a life. They don't have jobs. They work at gas stations. And and we can tell how far left they are by the way they present themselves. So it's actually quite understandable when you view this.
Policies and was confronted on issues from the economy to Jeffrey Epstein. Listen.
Why are you covering up the Epstein files?
Oh!
At the next pro forma session of the Congress, you'll find my name as a sponsor on a resolution from the House Rules Committee to release the Epstein files to protect the victims and not re-victimize them again. I am for the release of those records.
With us now, senior political commentator Paul Begala.
I can't believe we're talking about the Epstein files again. I'm like, seriously. Democrats are. We know why they are talking about the Epstein files. Because they are trying to destroy MAGA from within. All of a sudden, these are the people that wanted to tell us to stop. Stop talking about Epstein! You're victimizing women again! You're trying to jail people! Republicans, political opponents! Now they're all like, oh, let's release the Epstein files! Trump's on the Epstein files! And I'm like, seriously. All you gotta do is show up at a town hall. They don't have to ask you if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Just show up. And we know for sure that Democrats, they can't handle their emotions when they see a Twitter post from a Republican. They immediately have to comment. And they can't just keep scrolling. No, they must comment. And they must use profanity and hateful rhetoric and language in a big, long paragraph. And they must share their emotions to all of Twitter. Especially to that Republican, which honestly I can guarantee you doesn't read their comments. I'm just telling you. Stupid. I'm just telling. These people are emotionally damaged. Emotionally tyrannical, damaged people. If they can go after Twitter, for sure they're going to show up. If a Republican, or a MAGA Republican as they like to call, shows up to give a speech, sure, of course they're going to show up to heckle. They don't have a life. And sure, yeah, they're going to probably vote. And that's the other thing we could talk about the midterms. Yeah, you could see a popular vote swing for Democrats due to the TDS momentum, because there will be momentum for TDS, okay? But it's TDS. It's not for Democrats. They're voting Democrat because they hate Trump. And we'll talk about that and how this is going to affect the midterms. But we got to talk about this clown, Mr. McGella, who thinks that, oh, this is going to deliver Democrats' victories. I'm like, no, because the map is not in your favor. We'll talk about that.
Communications director for the Trump 2016 campaign. Paul, what do you see in that town hall?
And I see, remember last week there was a terrible earthquake off the coast of Russia? And then it took a long, long time before tsunami waves hit. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody was hurt. This is an earthquake. This is coming. The Republicans are looking at a wave election against them. This is what happened the last time. 2017, they cut taxes for the rich and just tried to cut Obamacare, to end Obamacare, and they failed. They lost 41 House seats in the next election. This combination, this bill, where they cut taxes for the rich, exploded the debt.
And Obamacare is unpopular. That's actually how the Democratic Party is where the state it is right now. I mean, let's be honest. Go back to 2006, complete different Democratic Party. Obamacare is the literal definition on how Trump won. Obamacare is how the Tea Party movement started, although the Tea Party movement probably started before Obamacare. But it energized and it transformed into the MAGA movement. This guy's throwing spaghetti on the wall. He knows he's on the spotlight, and he knows that, and he's trying to virtue signal and project to his far left audience. He wants to make them aroused, so he's saying, "Oh, they want to repeal Obamacare," even though really, Republicans have been the most slackiest on this Obamacare. They don't have a plan. They don't have anything. So they think Obamacare is at threat. No. Let's be honest. 2018 was a traditional 2014. It was a traditional 2010. No, nothing different. And we can go over that. And he thinks, oh, it's going to be this time, it's going to be the same deal. Democrat wave, even though very likely, or very possibly, Democrats could take the popular vote. He might take a victory lap on that, but Republicans took the popular vote in 2022. And Republicans lowered their heads to kiss the dirt because they knew how bad that they did. Popular vote doesn't matter. How many Republicans did you vote for? No. It's ridiculous. But let's go ahead.
And cut health care for working people. That's not going to fly, man. That's just not. We're both 454 days away. It's a long time. But I'm telling you, these people who think, oh, it's 4 or 5 seats here, it's going to be a 40-seat landslide. And the Republicans in the Congress, I think, know it.
All right, let me play a little bit more, Brian.
Okay. We're just going to have to, we got to go back up this claim. So 40-seat landslide, okay? But unlike this guy thinks, there's a roof, okay? There is a roof on top of the Democrats' head. And it's a pretty strong roof, okay? Because we're talking about trends here. We even got the said map out for the different trends and which way and which the different areas are voting. Let's reset this map for now. Let's go ahead. I would like to count the Ohio, Florida, and Texas districts. I will do Florida because I do think that Florida, Ron DeSantis, they're very serious in actually redistricting. Meanwhile, however, putting that aside, we're going to have to go ahead and look at turnout and also include by propensity vote. Looking at Arizona first. Yeah, so far you got the 2 districts, Arizona 6, and you got Arizona 1 trending slightly to the right. You might see them trend leftward. So we'll go ahead and say, you know what? It's going to be a toss-up, seeing that propensity vote's going to be somewhat difficult. I think Schweikert and Koskameney, they were carried by Trump to a certain degree. But their victories were like in the 4% margin. They weren't that they were relatively big victories. California is going to be a good year for Republicans. If Gavin Newsom follows up with this threat, I am skeptical with that because he is going to face some uphill battles with the Constitution, because what he's literally doing is literally rigging the will of the California people, and in order to establish a state commission, what he's going to have to do is probably publish a ballot measure that would undo that and do a lot of Democrat projecting and talking points in regards to undoing that said independent commission, in order, because that's not going to fly if he's going to literally rig the commission like he's literally threatening to do. But yes, you have a lot of seats here. Some of them are swinging left, some of them swinging right. Adding it more like to this is 2022. A lot of them, because you're seeing them swing to the left, mainly because of the Kamala Harris. This is a presidential year. And that's why I'm finding it very, very, very kind of hard to actually come out and say that it's going to be like this. Well, taking a look at 2018 and 2022, you see it's kind of a different map. You're seeing most of Los Angeles, they're swinging to the right aggressively. Now, could things change? Now, adding also context also matters in this. Now, 2018, 2022, Republicans were in office. 2018, 2022, Republicans were the opposition. Democrats were the opposition in 2018. So, opposition party does fairly well. So obviously they'll say, oh, well, 2022, it doesn't work because Republicans did very well because of the yada, yada, yada. Well, also, you take a look at the state of disarray that's going on in California. You can't necessarily go out and say that, 88.8% swing to the right. You can't go ahead and necessarily say that, it's all solely because of, it's all because of Trump. It's all because of Democrats being in office and voters are coming out to deliver the status quo again. Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, you can't, you're downplaying it. This is what could happen in regards to swing. And I know I can go over all the said districts, but I know for sure that would be somewhat of a longer video. Now, let's give Democrats some benefit of the doubt. And a lot of it will be on the candidates we end up running. Like, if we keep Miller Meeks, which would be disastrous, you could say that, Miller Meeks will lose her re-election bid. You could say that. Or you could say Van Orden. Van Orden, he loses his re-election bid due to the low propensity vote in Wisconsin. Or you say, Gabe Evans, he loses due to, Republicans being a very low propensity. You could say, Tom Barrett, he will lose due to Michigan's low propensity. It's mostly done to low propensity voters. And not necessarily that people are revolting against the Republicans. No, this is mainly due to low propensity. Because Republicans are less likely to show up in Michigan and Colorado and in Wisconsin, and that doesn't help these Republican incumbents. Now, I do think that James District will probably stay red. It is trending, I want to believe, into the direction of the said conservative side. We can actually take a look. It's solid here. Yeah, you see 5.6% to the right. Now, it's important. A lot of this could be Trump vote. A lot of this could be the Muslim vote. A lot of this could be other stuff. And I would realistically expect it more to trend to the left a bit, saying that James is necessarily not in office. He's running for governor, but it's still a possibility. But yeah, I would say for sure the likelihood we'll flip Ohio 9 regardless if we change the district or not is likely high. Ohio is a propensity state for Republicans. And looking at Amelia Sykes, how she managed to get reelected, how much? Did it trend to the left or trend to the right? I don't know. Yeah, you saw most of the South trend left. Why? Because Democrats were coming out, right? Democrats were coming out at mass to vote for Kamala Harris. A lot of the Ohio Democrats don't like voting in midterms. Okay? That's why you were seeing this. But you have Sykes district, it trended to the right despite the suburban women voting for Kamala Harris. This is not good for her. So you could very well say that, oh, Amelia Sykes will lose because, you know, she's had her time in Congress, and you gotta go. Amelia Sykes' second term, you know, it is what it is. Now, you could go ahead and say that, yeah, Perry is looking like he's going to lose. You could possibly say that, oh, but Perry underperformed because of Kamala Harris. But then again, this doesn't mean that anything necessarily, because you have Scott Perry. Republicans are the low propensity voters in Pennsylvania. Just saying. So Democrats could win this seat. Plus, this is, of course, Scott Perry's been in office forever, 2013, over 10 years, and people are probably done with him. But I can say that Jared Golden's seat would likely flip without, whether we redistrict it or not, is already a favorable seat for Republicans. Let's see, Jared Golden. They got all these Democrats coming out. And despite that, Jared Golden still underperformed. So this is not necessarily good. Now, Golden could come up and say, well, Republicans are low propensity in Maine. Therefore, I have a chance. He does, and it's going to take but his string of chance is very, very, very small. Right now, he's going against Paul LePage. He is pretty much like the Donald Trump of Maine. And I think he's going to incentivize enough Republicans to come out and vote for him in the 2nd District. Golden's been in office for a very long time, 2019, 4th term. People are probably, this is a Republican district. It's trending to the right aggressively in recent years. Yes, although 2018 was different because of the blue wave, yeah, as they want to remind us. But yeah, this is not looking good for Golden. And you have also New York. A lot of this has to do with the Kamala voters. Quite to be honest with you. Now, I look at the Swolsey map and I say no. Because they don't add to context that they had a special election earlier that year. Okay, they had a special election, and on top of that, you had Democrats in that district coming to vote for Kamala Harris. Now, this time around, you're going to have a socialist mayor. You're going to have a lot of problems. So, do you think Swolsey could pull it off? Maybe. I'm not going to color it in. But I disagree with 270's take on this. I do think Tom Swolsey, they're doing him a disservice by coloring his map in. They're lying to him. If Mondami being elected is going to make it very hard for these Democrat incumbents in New York that live in compatible districts or run compatible districts. And that's why you're seeing people like Kathy Hochul backing and trying to get away from Mondami as possible. This is a woman that will relatively win re-election pretty easily. But, hey, she knows something's up. 17th District, Mike Lawler, he's running for re-election. I would imagine that the anti-Hochul banana peel effect will carry Lawler through. Let's remember, we're expected to see something close to a 2022 in New York again. You have Hochul, and on top of that, you got a socialist maniac as mayor of New York City. And that's really, really bad. New York's not going to likely be affected mostly by state issues, not really by federal issues. Sure, you'll have a Trump deranged crowd coming out to vote for Democrats, but on the normal people, we're talking about normal people and Republicans, their concerns are mostly on the state government. and how it's being run. And who knows, you might get Gillen out, even though Gillen, let's add context to it. It did swing to the said left, mostly due to Kamala Harris. We won't color it in since we think it's relatively too close. 19th district, it swung to the left. Who knows? It's a Democrat gerrymander. They could pull it off again. I don't know. Well, we'll just go ahead and say it's a toss-up for now. Brian McKenzie's seat's tossed up. Now, Tom Keene's seat is pretty Republican. And obviously, the SALT tax is going to help Keene in this. He helped put that in. He is expected to overperform, seeing that New Jersey, in these more bluer states, Republicans seem to overperform. They're more of a propensity because then again, government, right? And if Mikey Sherrill does win re-election, I don't know. Will she be a good governor? Mikey Sherrill wins the governor's race or Schiaparelli? I don't know. Will it affect New Jersey? It could. I will tell you the best part of Mikey Sherrill winning the governor's race is people will revolt against her, because we know what Mikey Sherrill has to offer for the district is not good. I mean, to the state is not good. People like Tom Keene, I think he's going to get reelected, and I would describe it as tilting Republican or leaning Republican. Gene Kiggins in the second term, I'm expecting him to, he expanded very little, but he's expanding. It's not trending left. So I feel good as of right now to calling Kiggins district. Don Davis could be losing re-election. And on top of that, look at 214. Add the Texas gerrymandering. And Republicans have the House of Representatives. Democrats have no pathway forward. In North Carolina, 3.1%. I think it's over for Davis. Democrats are the little propensity voters. I would say this is a pretty Republican district. Don Davis is likely going to lose his reelection. But you also have seats. I'll go ahead and give them New Mexico too, even though it's possible. I mean, Trump won the district, but not by much. We can actually leave Texas for now. We'll go ahead and call Washington. It feels like I'm doing another House prediction, but I'm trying to realistically point this guy's errors out. But yeah, this is kind of a realistic, where does things stand right now? It doesn't stand so well for Democrats. You got 9 districts, I think, that are tossed up right now that we did not call. But let's say we pass that Texas map. And here's the funny thing. We don't have to pass a Texas map to get over to the maximum votes needed. We can go after Ohio. You know, Ohio was approved by voters. I would like to see if this Ohio thing, I would not be surprised to see Democrats flee to Chicago in Ohio. Ohio Democrats run away scared. They don't want to face the challenge. They flock all the way to Chicago. Hey, you're undermining the people's will. They voted for this. But hey, I mean, we would get 13 in the 9th district. This is not really exciting to me. But the best thing would be we flip the 1st district. That would be very good for Republicans. But let's jump to Texas now. You go to Texas, we take the districts that were given to us, and we win the House, okay? This guy is so dumb. He thinks, it's over. This is not going to be Texas is not going to be redistricted. Democrats crush the effort. These are what the Democrat talking points are. But the funny thing is, this map's going to be in the 2024 or 2026 race. Period. Because the funny thing is, Republicans are smart to do this now. Because we have a year and a half to get this map passed. We just got to do it before the midterms. We got a whole lot of time. So if Democrats want to stall, okay, then expect, and if this worst case scenario, this map is not approved and we have to do another session, they're going to be so Pikachu faced to see that next month, here it is, the map's back up again. You know, Al Green keeps filing impeachment effort after impeachment effort. This is the 6th time he's filing an impeachment against Donald Trump. The 6th time. So if he can file as many impeachment efforts against Trump, then why can't we file this map as many times? Democrats want to play silly games. They win a silly prize. That's how it works. So you got Texas, you got Ohio, you got Florida that is likely going to redistrict. Ron DeSantis is coming out. He's saying, yeah, we want some mid-decade redistricting, and I 100% approve of it. And you'll say you give them the 9th district, Moskowitz district. I want to believe Debbie Wasserman's district would go red. You got really 3 districts. Republicans are expanding. And that's pretty much the midterms for you. Now, all of this, you could still get a Democrat double-digit win in the said popular vote. You take a look in the Senate election. How did the Senate election go? Because this is an example on how much Democrats. Okay, so 58%. That's double digits. That's a landslide. And Democrats lost seats. They lost a net worth of 2 despite winning double digits. Now, what seats did they end up picking up? Oh, they picked up Arizona and they picked up Nevada. And a lot of them don't seem to recognize or realize that a lot of their wins came in populated states, like Minnesota, for example. Amy Klobuchar won 60% of the popular vote. That contributed to the 58%. Okay? Not to mention, Florida was much more compatible. 4 million voters for votes for Democrat Bill Nelson. And the fact that you lost him, who is a legend in Florida and who was really one of the key aspects of keeping Florida blue, the fact that you lost Bill Nelson is a thorn at your side. It clearly is. You got 58%, and you failed to get Bill Nelson another term. And you take a victory lap? Ridiculous. Tim Kaine, add 57%. You see, Democrats technically are overperforming in the blue states that they held. You got Pennsylvania, 55% for Bob Casey Jr. You have also New York. Add another vote, 67%, almost 70%. Add that to the 58%. California, although it was relatively close, you could take all the votes in California because you got Dianne Feinstein and Kevin De Leon. They are both Democrats. Add it to the 58%. Context matters. Okay, not to mention Ohio, 53%. You got Sherrod Brown, who was relatively popular in that state. West Virginia, pretty Democrat because of Joe Manchin. Add context. I'm just saying, 58%. Oh, we got 58% because of Trump. No, it had to do mostly with good senators. You got Amy Klobuchar. You have Tim Kaine. You got Bob Casey. You got Kirsten Gillibrand. You also have Dianne Feinstein. As Schiff keeps reminding us, she's a legend. Only getting 54%, though. You have all these people. You got Tammy Baldwin in the swing state of Wisconsin, 55%. These are mostly due to Democrat juggernauts. I'm just telling you, that got 58%. Not really has to do anything really with Trump. But what about the House races? Now, the House races are quite interesting, and they're quite better for Democrats because they did perform somewhat of a good margin. Yes, actually, no, less of a margin. 53%, 44%. Now, Democrats will take a lap over this and they'll say, look, All we need to do is 53%, do an 8-point performance, so we flip 41 seats. But hang on. No. Back in 2018, context matters, you had rural areas. Where are the rural areas going now? What's the map showing rural areas? Rural areas are trending rightward. Sure, yeah, South Dakota is going to be red, regardless, as it was in 2018. Kansas is trending solidly Republican. Colorado, this mainly has to do, mostly due to the 2024, where things are going right now, but they're not getting the rural areas. Rural Vermont is trending right aggressively. This is absolutely hilarious. And yeah, if the Democrats want to make a spaghetti sandwich, then let them do it. This is absolutely stupid. Like, yeah, they got 44 seats. How? Why? Let's see. How many rural districts? 1, 2. You had Hennepin County, which we knew would flip regardless. You had this Florida district. You had South Carolina district. This along Charlottesville. No, not Charlottesville. Charleston, South Carolina. You have this district. You have Virginia Beach. You had Northern Virginia. You got these 3 New Jersey districts. You got Pennsylvania. Add context, please. Over the course of the years, Republicans strengthened their performances, and they're very popular in their rural districts. And of course, they're not going to. The best they can do is probably win the 8. But it's over if Republicans go with their redistricting. Now, worst case scenario is somehow, some way, Republicans don't redistrict, or they cave to Democrats throwing their tantrum. What's the worst case scenario? Well, we can bring back Texas 35. We can bring back, go to Dallas here, Juliet Johnston's district. We could bring back Houston, and we would still keep you could say Vicente Gonzalez, but Henry Cuellar's career is over. He has been in Congress forever. He's in a Trump +7 district. I think it's done for him. It's over. Let's see how he performed. Yeah, this is not a good result. A swing to the right by 7 points. Forget it. And these people are not necessarily the biggest Trump supporters. They're just anti-Democrat Hispanics. That's really what they've become. Now, worst case scenario also goes, we can go ahead and say that, oh, well, we flip we undo all of Florida. Right, let's give Democrats the seats that they held in Florida. Don't really care about the margins. But, yeah. Republicans just need 1 more. Are you kidding me? Yeah, and I'm like, for me, I know a lot of Republicans were like, oh, we don't need a competition. I look forward to the competition. I love the competition. I like the hard work. So I'm not necessarily a fan of Republicans gerrymandering past 218. Because, I want something to work hard for. I want something to be looking forward to. And I want to celebrate a huge win. And let's be honest, if Democrats lose the House, they're going to be like, whoa, Republicans, they gerrymandered. We knew this would happen. And that makes, really, obviously, we want to see Democrats completely melt down and have 0 excuses of not winning. But obviously not to say that, yes, I do care about, obviously, how we carry ourselves into victory. But this covers up the House. But this clown says we're picking up 40 seats. How many seats did Democrats pick up? I take he carried net worth. Not by net worth, Democrats carried nothing. Okay? Nothing. They lost seats. They're at 209. Unless they miraculously win all these districts, which I don't think is going to happen. Let's just be honest. It's gonna be a dependent miracle. The pendulum has swung, and it's looking pretty good for Republicans. Or you could have Van Orden's district be tossed up. A lot of people say Van Orden's done. I'm like, yeah, let's see. Van Orden, he is trending left. That's mostly, does it have to do with the Trump vote? I'm not going to say Van Orden's going to get reelected. I'm not going to say Van Orden's going to lose reelection. I don't know. He's an underperformer. He underperformed 0.8. Yeah, almost a point. That's not good. But hey, I'm going to keep an eye on that district. But even if they win that district, it's not going to help them in any way. But yeah, this is pretty hilarious. This is just cope because Democrats, I've been seeing, they're like, Republicans are doing a bad job running the White House and running everything. They're rigging the midterms. And now they're coming out saying that we can still win the midterms. Then they're not rigged. If you can still win the midterms, then they're obviously not rigged. Let's be honest. Democrats are lying to themselves. And I would assume that this clown is also talking and referring to the Senate race also. Remind me again how many Senate seats Democrats could pick up? Well, 270 is actually saying Democrats have a chance of carrying only one. And now I'm saying, oh yeah, you got Roy Cooper running. But Roy Cooper's going to have to depend on the black voters. And he's going to have to depend on Trump derangement to get the black voters up. But I'm just saying, these black voters could have showed up at mass for Roe v. Wade in North Carolina. And they lost every single justice seat. No one was expecting that. In fact, no one talked about it because that made Democrats look bad. So I would say Democrats being very low propensity in North Carolina is going to hurt them quite a lot. Now, the best case scenario for them is, let's see, Susan Collins doesn't run. Then, honestly, I'd say Republicans throw the towel. We're not winning Maine. But I would say it would incentivize Republicans going after Michigan and Georgia even harder. Okay? I mean, John Ossoff, he's a popular guy, they tell us. But let's be honest. John Ossoff won due to Raphael Warnock. Okay, he brought the African Americans to the table for Ossoff. In his first round, everyone showed up to vote for Joe Biden, and Ossoff lost. Now, add context. We're running a congressman. That congressman, who's been in office for quite a while, could be seen as experienced enough. So we could possibly win Georgia. I'm not going to say we are going to win or not. Michigan, they could possibly hold on to due to the low propensity. But they're not winning anything. They're not flipping anything. And regardless, if they flip Maine, which honestly I would not count, Susan Collins doesn't run. Well, you could win it this year if you get Susan Collins out. You could say, hey, we won Maine. We just have to wait a year and a half. That's not fun. You win Maine, like, okay, we celebrated our victory 1 year and a half ago. And you lose Georgia, same results, 53-47. Nothing changes. That's your midterm? That's your midterm, Mr. Miguela. What about the governor's races? The governor's races is going to be even worse for Democrats because they need to play defense. All their governors are leaving. We got Mr. Tony Evers. He's not running for re-election. His term might deliver. Or if we get Tom Tiffany running, we could possibly win that seat. I'm not going to say we're going to win or not. I don't necessarily know. Michigan, toss up. The best case scenario is they keep Wisconsin. They keep Michigan. But here's the fun part. Republicans win Georgia. Republicans will keep Nevada. And Katie Hobbs loses. It's R+2. Republicans gain 2 seats. Is that really what you're trying to tell us, Mr. Begala? Look at this. Democrats, 0. Republicans, 2. And, oh, you could take the victory lap. Oh, we kept Wisconsin. Oh, we kept Michigan. But then again, it's nothing compared to actually taking out a governor, taking out a politician, which you should want to try to do. Taking over a seat, expanding this, and trying to overset the status quo. But, yeah, I mean, this guy is making himself look like a fool. Alan Lichtman's career is over. He's trying to become more relevant, but he's only making himself look more insane and unstable. But what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.